Single dad missed his interview to help a woman on the road, unaware she was the company's CEO. The rain came down harder than the doubts already weighing on his chest, and as the bus splashed past him, soaking his worn jacket, he realized with a sickening certainty that he was about to miss the most important interview of his life. The job could have changed everything for him and his little daughter, yet fate had placed a broken-down car and a stranded woman in his path, and the choice he made in that moment would quietly rewrite his entire future. If you believe that kindness still matters in a world that often feels cold and rushed, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about second chances and humanity. Ethan Cole had learned long ago that life did not pause for grief. 3 years earlier, he had buried his wife under a gray sky not unlike this one, holding his daughter Lily's tiny hand as she asked questions he didn't know how to answer. Since then, every day had become a careful balance between survival and love. He worked nights unloading trucks at a warehouse, mornings delivering groceries, and afternoons trying to be present for a 7-year-old girl who still slept with her mother's sweater folded under her pillow. Exhaustion lived in his bones, but hope lived in his heart, fragile and stubborn. The interview scheduled for that morning was more than just another opportunity. It was a rare opening at a logistics company known for stability and benefits, health insurance, predictable hours, a chance to be home for dinner. Ethan had ironed his only good shirt the night before, practiced answers in the mirror, and promised Lily that soon things might get easier. He had left early, calculating every minute, knowing that lateness often meant rejection. But life, as it so often did, had other plans. Half a mile from the bus stop closest to the office, he noticed a dark sedan pulled over on the shoulder of the road. Hazard lights blinked weakly through the rain, and beside the car stood a woman in a simple coat, hair damp, phone pressed uselessly to her ear. Other cars passed without slowing. Ethan hesitated, feeling time slip through his fingers. His watch ticked loudly in his mind, counting down the minutes to his interview, counting down the chance to finally breathe. He told himself someone else would stop. He told himself he couldn't afford to help. He told himself his daughter needed him to keep walking. But then he saw the woman's shoulders sag, the quiet defeat in her posture, and something inside him refused to move forward. He thought of all the times he had stood alone with Lily, wishing for help that never came. With a heavy sigh, he stepped toward the roadside, each step feeling like a sacrifice he didn't know how to measure. The car had a flat tire, shredded badly enough that driving was impossible. The woman tried to apologize for the inconvenience she was causing him, though her voice shook from the cold and stress. Ethan waved it off and set his worn briefcase down in the mud. He didn't have fancy tools, just a basic jack and the determination that had carried him through years of hardship. Rain soaked through his clothes as he worked, his hands numbing as he loosened stubborn bolts. Time pressed in on him, relentless and unforgiving. As he struggled, his thoughts spiraled. He imagined the interviewer glancing at the clock, shaking their head, moving on to the next candidate. He imagined Lily's face if he came home with the same tired smile and the same uncertain answers. Yet even as fear gnawed at him, he felt something steadier beneath it, a quiet certainty that leaving this woman stranded would haunt him far longer than missing an interview ever could. When the tire was finally changed, his hands were raw, his shirt streaked with grime. The woman thanked him with a sincerity that cut through the rain, offering to repay him somehow. Ethan declined gently, already backing away, glancing once more at his watch. He was officially late now, the kind of late that closes doors. Without waiting for more, he picked up his briefcase and hurried toward the bus stop, heart heavy but conscience strangely light. By the time Ethan reached the office building, his shoes squelched with every step. He stood in the lobby for a moment, staring at the polished floors and glass walls, feeling completely out of place. A receptionist informed him politely that the interview panel had already moved on. There was no anger in her voice, only routine efficiency, which somehow made it hurt more. Ethan thanked her anyway, turned around, and walked back out into the rain, feeling as though he had just watched his future slip quietly out of reach. That evening, he sat at the small kitchen table with Lily, helping her with homework while reheating leftovers. She noticed the disappointment he tried to hide and asked if the interview went well. He paused, then told her the truth in the gentlest way he could. Lily listened carefully, then wrapped her arms around his neck, telling him that her teacher said doing the right thing was always important, even when it was hard. Ethan smiled, blinking back tears, wondering when his daughter had become so wise. Days passed with no word from the company. Ethan returned to his routine, nights blending into mornings, hope settling back into its quiet corner. He didn't regret helping the woman, but he did allow himself moments of sadness, moments where he questioned whether goodness was a luxury he could no longer afford. Still, each night he tucked Lily in, reminding himself that the example he set mattered more than any title or paycheck. A week later, an unfamiliar number flashed on his phone while he was stacking boxes at the warehouse. He almost ignored it, assuming it was another reminder about overdue bills. When he answered, the voice on the other end asked him to confirm his name and then informed him that the company he had attempted to interview with, wanted to see him as soon as possible. Ethan was stunned, certain there had been a mistake. The caller insisted there hadn't and urged him to come in the following morning. The next day, Ethan arrived early, dressed in the same shirt he had worn before, freshly cleaned but still creased from years of use. This time, he was ushered not into a standard interview room, but into a quiet office with large windows overlooking the city. Sitting at the desk was the woman from the roadside, now composed, confident, and unmistakably in charge. Recognition dawned slowly, then all at once, leaving Ethan momentarily speechless. She explained that she was the company's CEO, someone who rarely revealed her position to strangers. That morning on the road had been a test of character she hadn't intended to conduct, yet it had shown her something no resume ever could. She had learned that Ethan was willing to put another human being's safety above his own advancement, that he possessed integrity rooted not in reward but in principle. She told him that the receptionist had noted his name when he arrived late and that she had made a point to remember it. Ethan listened, overwhelmed, as she spoke about the kind of culture she wanted to build. A company run by people who cared, who understood struggle, who led with empathy. She offered him not just a position, but one tailored to his experience, with hours that would allow him to be present for his daughter. The salary was more than he had dared to hope for, the benefits comprehensive. As the words sank in, Ethan felt a weight lift from his chest that he hadn't realized he was carrying. He accepted the offer with gratitude that bordered on disbelief. Walking out of the building that day, sunlight breaking through the clouds for the first time in weeks, he felt taller somehow, as though the world had shifted just enough to let him breathe. When he told Lily the news, she jumped into his arms, laughing and crying all at once, declaring it the best day ever. Ethan held her tightly, silently thanking every unseen force that had led him to that broken-down car. In the months that followed, Ethan thrived in his new role. He worked hard, not out of fear but out of pride, and his dedication did not go unnoticed. The CEO checked in on him occasionally, not as a distant executive but as someone who understood the value of being seen. Ethan used his stability to build a better life for Lily, simple things at first, like fresh groceries and school supplies without worry, then bigger dreams like weekend trips and college savings. Yet the greatest change wasn't financial. It was the quiet confidence that settled into Ethan's life, the knowledge that doing the right thing had not destroyed him but saved him. He shared his story with coworkers when they faced their own crossroads, reminding them that character often whispers when the world shouts. And in those moments, he felt his wife's memory close, as if she were proud of the man he continued to become. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you that small acts of kindness can ripple into life-changing moments, please take a second to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please comment below what this story made you feel, or share a moment when choosing kindness changed your life. On one ordinary, rain-soaked morning, a single father believed he was losing everything by stopping to help a stranger. He didn't know that by choosing compassion over ambition, he was actually stepping into the future he and his daughter deserved. Sometimes, the road that delays us is the very one that leads us home.